And we are live. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might be in the diasporas. I am your illustrious host. I am Omiinka 7, coming to you live by way of Facebook. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, Facebook, or good afternoon, Facebook. We're live here. And to my Facebook friends, I say, come on in, tell somebody that Omi's on the screen, and I am in full force today. Someone from Facebook, go and tell a friend, go down below and subscribe, and also give me those 2 thumbs up. Your Omi's on today, and I'm in full force. And the topic is the African American male, the new bald eagle. We have a lot to talk about today, family, and I could not wait to get back in front of the screen to talk to you about what needs to be discussed in the African American community. And as you know, anything that concerns the family, I'm going to be on top of it. And I haven't forgotten what's going on out there in the pretend media. Wait a minute, let's see. We got a little problem here on Facebook. Let's see if we can get us back. Okay. See if I can get back out to Facebook. Good afternoon, Facebook. Let me see if I can get back out here. Let's see. Just turn me right off. I'm not going to even put the new title up there. Okay, here we go. How you doing out there, YouTubers? I'd like for you to come in and join me. Let's see if I have anybody over here in YouTube. Okay, Facebook, I am Omiinka, and we are coming on live today. Our topic is the African American male the new bald eagle? Now, I'm going to lay a foundation for you on that because initially I wanted to bring you something about Black history for our Black History Month and dealing with the actual acts that went through in the land. I'm going to put that aside because we have a much more urgent topic to discuss. And that urgent topic is the African American the new bald eagle? As you know, there are agendas being pushed out there, and our African, and every time I keep saying that, it keeps trying to reconnect. Why is it reconnecting? Reconnecting. And there's nothing here to reconnect. I don't know why it's reconnecting. So, ladies and gentlemen, give me a few minutes here to do my technician work. Let me see. Got a lot of stuff going on up here. Okay, Facebook, you're going to be seeing me in a minute. We had a little technical problems, and we're doing a little house cleaning, a little housework. Going to get our ears on here so we will be heard. Once again, how is everyone doing? Our topic is the African American male the new bald eagle? Now, let me lay down a foundation for you. There's a lot going on out here that you mothers may have missed. And for all you teachers, I want you to go back and do your homework because we missed something. And when anything pertains to our children, we've got to get on top of it. And we have missed something. Now, let me also say to you that I'm on top of it, mothers. Yes, I am. I seen it on the television and it wasn't right. It wasn't right. And even I know it wasn't right. So I'm going to come back to the listening audience to let them know that I am observing things that are not right. We've got to lay a foundation and say what is good and wholesome for our families. And as a representative and an ombudsman for our special needs population, especially for them, and particularly for them and for our families, who have children that are toddlers that are growing up in these schools. These schools have become wretched and the agenda has changed. Now, I know for a fact I was rescuing Black young men out of the fire, and they were always being put in an agenda, and they still are. I want mothers to be aware who have male children. You have got to get on this thing and you've got to address it wholeheartedly. And the reason why is because somebody set up an agenda for our Black males. They've already pushed them in a corner where they now can be represented as the new bald eagle. You remember on the list for the endangered species, the bald eagle was listed. Now they've moved the bald eagle out the way and they pushed the Black man in his place. He's an endangered species. No, there's no two ways about it. He is for the taking. And those who have not been informed and whose mothers who have not helped their young man to determine their gender, and they are gender confused and they are functioning as if they need a little push on the other side of the heterogeneous line, and that they have some confusion going on about their gender. But if you could pay them enough money, they'll quickly decide to go on the feminine side, even though they were born a male. Is this an agenda that's being pushed? And if it is, shouldn't we expose it? As a teacher, I'm obligated to expose it. I know in the school system, a lot of teachers quit because they were told that you now must teach gender equity and you must teach gender, male, feminine, and female alike. And you must teach the other alternative person. Now, I'm not going to answer that. No, I'm not. I'm declining it because every time I get on these airways, they want to call me and they want to say unavailable. I know who they are. They don't want me preaching this message, but I had to because I'm compelled to as a teacher. When you start involving our children at preschool and toddler's age, at Sesame Street age, one that I encourage mothers to watch and watch with their children. I want you to, especially mothers, sit down in the living room with your children as they are learning from Sesame Street. What could they possibly be learning from Sesame Street? And a guest that comes on board that is confused about his femininity or his gender equity. If you want to wear that to an occasion where they are people that are of the same sex you are, that's fine and well. But when you wear that to a children's program and sit on TV and take pictures with the children, we don't know what you're referring to. We don't know what your intentions are, what your motives are. And we don't know where you're going with this thing when you invite yourself back as a second time guest. But we want to know, inquiring minds want to know, what is your intentions with our preschoolers on Sesame Street, where they need to be introduced to gender equity at a preschool level when they don't understand the birds and the bees and they don't understand the life cycle? What could possibly be taught to them about the other genders? Well, first let them get acquainted and accustomed to exploring their own bodies before they have to go out and explore what men and women aren't or are doing. Let me put it quite blunt to you. Sesame Street, you must have a curriculum. What is your curriculum? You must expose it to the general public, and the population want to know. We have a right to know what is in your agenda and your curriculum. Does it talk about you must now introduce gender equity to preschoolers and to kindergartners? We want to know what is in that curriculum, and we have an obligation to know. Now, if you're going to be inviting guests on to introduce those young children to their gender equity, then you need to inform the parents. or leave that up to the parents to introduce that sensitive subject to. It's very vital that you should be aware of the fact that you have no business taking other people's children in the audience and other people's children that are viewing your show and introducing a sensitive session like sex education to preschoolers. Well, when I first saw that you were having a guest on that was going to be sporting an evening gown after 5 evening gown, I I questioned whether or not it was a ball. But then to find out that it was a male that was going to be sporting this, I really was confused. Help my misunderstanding. What could a male possibly say that's wearing a dress to a young child that is an impressionable age? And he'll say, well, you're wearing a dress. Women wear dresses. Now, somebody has to correct him and say, oh no, not only women are feminine, but men are too. How are you going to explain that to a child that's never been introduced to the birds and the bees? We have to be very careful on this one because the whole world is watching Sesame Street. I even watch Sesame Street. So I'm concerned. Are men becoming the new bald eagle? Is there such a threat for other people's life? The non-Melanite man, is he so fearful of the black man? Are they still hunting the black man like they were hunting Jesus? Were they still trying to put those men to death, trying to locate Jesus? Are they still fearful of the black man's anatomy? Are they still fearful that they must reduce him down to being feminine and non-threatening? Is this what we're trying to do to our Sesame Street show? Show the children that we're non-threatening. And the black man is easy to approach. He's non-threatening. I don't think all black men want to be represented in a dress. I don't think all black men want to be introduced to children as being soft and sweet and feminine when their fathers have told them otherwise. We're on a hot topic that should not be discussed over Sesame Street. It's fine and well what you choose to do with your body and who you choose to do it with, but you have no right to introduce that concept to children when their parents have not been informed. You have no right to introduce this concept of sex education, gender equity, looking at male female issues, and the fact that this is a topic that their mothers and fathers should introduce them to. They are not well on the way to learning sex education because the cycle of life is not introduced until they're in kindergarten, possibly preschool, and it's done by a teacher that is thoroughly trained. You can't make the mistake of putting a guest on the show who might not be and orientated to sex education nor early childhood development. We must present age appropriate topics to early childhood. Even parents know that. They cannot just introduce games that are not age appropriate to toddlers, and neither can Sesame Street. We would beg the difference with Sesame Street if they start introducing ninth grade algebra to our children who are engaged with them under the pretense of receiving preschool education. And most parents would say this much too early to begin to teach that mathematic problem to that child when you know that child hasn't had the foundations of mathematics, starting with the addition, subtraction, and division. So we certainly wouldn't start teaching sex education to a preschooler and a kindergarten to make them choose sides of gender equity, to make them choose sides. Is it okay to accept this man in a dress while accepting my mommy at home in her after five dress? Are they both one and the same? Must we make the child choose so early? And if so, are we introducing to the child same-sex activities? There's a time and a place for that. They've carved it out in the curriculum at the middle school, not at preschool. It seems like we've jumped the gun and we've started educating preschoolers about sex education. It's far too early, Sesame Street. And if you're going to invite somebody to introduce that topic, invite a doctor and make sure it's at age appropriate level. Now, I don't know what your guest was teaching these preschoolers on Sesame Street. I don't even know what they were teaching Elmore. Elmore may be too young to even have a conversation like that. But we must make sure our parents are informed. And just like we put everything else on restrictions, this program here is restricted. I didn't want children to come in here, so I restrict it. Just as Sesame Street has to restrict and censor their shows so the parents will know what is being introduced to their children behind their back. It cannot be introduced without informing those parents that we're going to be covering sex education and gender equity. So most Black families are saying, oh, it's okay. To each his own. You shouldn't even comment on people that are different. No, I'm not commenting on the people. I'm talking about the children. I said the grown-ups can do what they want to do, but not in the presence of the children. Somebody has to be an advocate for the children. And somebody's got to speak out about age inappropriate conversations and viewings. And this is one of those. We shouldn't get up early in the morning and see on the news that Elmore is hugged up against a man in a dress. What is that picture saying? A picture can say a million words. What is that picture telling us? We know that a dress indicates femininity. Walk feminine, talk feminine, smile and be, hey, feminine, compliment your femininity. That's what feminist is for. As a woman and growing up with 10 other sisters, we were taught femininity, how to hold your head back, how to walk gracefully as if you're floating, and how to pardon yourself when you have to leave the room, which we did in the presence of our churches. These are feminine things that women are taught when they go in with the dress, how to cross their legs appropriately, how to pull their gown down over their ankles, and how to tippy toe through the tulips. These are feminine things. But when a young child sees this on a male, he could get very, very confused and say, that's not how a man is supposed to walk. He's supposed to walk hard and swinging his legs and not femininity like a woman. So you are confusing the child. The parents should be terribly upset over the fact that somebody's introducing femininity to their male child, who they want the opportunity to sit down and say, look, Johnny, now these are the things that a man does. And this is a man's world. They want that opportunity to be able to talk to Johnny that way. They don't want someone to come in and dampen Johnny's views about what he feels or she feels about gender equity. Now, nobody's taking away the right of the LGBTQ group. I want them to live and live as they want to live and let live. But there's an appropriate place that this must be done, and it cannot be done in all venues. Just like we can't come on Sesame Street teaching things to children that are inappropriate, that they're not age appropriately for, because it could damage that child. I'm looking at the damage that it might do to a child. I don't know if you've seen it or not. I don't know if any of you teachers even raise your voice up or raise your hand and say, hold up. Isn't Johnny too young to be learning about sex education and he's only 3 years old? Hold up. Uh, we got guests coming in here that Johnny ain't never seen before, and he's only seen women in a dress. So now we got some explaining to do. Johnny wants to know, why is that man wearing a dress? He cannot study. He cannot listen to story time. He's acting out. He's throwing a temper tantrum because nobody told him that a man would be wearing a dress who was coming to visit him. So now that the man is here, you got some explaining to do. Johnny wants to know, why is that man wearing a dress? And is he like mommy? And does he sit down on the toilet seat just like mommy when she goes to the bathroom? See, you open up a door for a lot of issues that you don't understand that belongs to the family and the parent. You cannot have that child viewing that movie or viewing that particular scene of your guest coming on to introduce himself to the team of preschoolers, and you don't have a significant reason. You don't have an agenda. You don't have your intentions have not been defined. What are your intentions? And inviting someone to the stage to meet our innocents, toddlers who have not been informed about LGBTQ and who have not been informed about gender equity. Shouldn't that be left up to the mothers and fathers to introduce them to? Or should Sesame Street have that right to open up and engage a child on a topic such as sensitive as gender equity? Now, we know that a lot of people are coming out the closet. We weren't born yesterday. We all had LGBTQ people in our community and we were friends with them. I had a couple of them myself. I had no problem with what they want to do. But when you start exposing it onto our children, that's when I have a problem, because our children must be introduced and engaged in gender equity by their own personal parents so they can answer the necessary questions and they can help that child engage and understand what femininity is. We can't go telling him femininity is dainty, it is so elegant, and now you fluff up your hair, you flip it back, and you do a little teasing. A young boy knows that that's what his sister does and that's what his mommy does. But his daddy will say, son, go over there and get the brush and brush your hair real hard and brush it down and keep it laying down every strand of it. These are things that are going against the parents and what they're laying a foundation for. So we have to be very, very careful that we're not inviting guests who don't know age appropriate things for children, who don't know that they might not need to be a guest there in that preschooler area because they will create more confusion than anything. So let's hold tight for a minute here. Okay, got our water here. How's everyone doing out there? I'm going to say something to our Facebook, to our YouTube. Say hello. Please join us. Okay. Now, Once again, Facebook friends, sorry about that. We are talking about gender equity. And we are also talking about what is age appropriate activities to engage preschoolers in. I am very concerned because we are allowing people to do whatever they want with our African American males. And we must say something. And young African American males who might not know this, that if they choose to be homosexual, they cannot expose that on young, tender minds who have not been formalized yet. We must allow the mothers to introduce sex education to their preschoolers, let alone their middle schoolers. Now, we must understand that we can't go on national TV introducing children to what is uh, appropriate for dress. Now, we have done a lot of things with our fashion and dress, but one thing we haven't did is have men come around, young impressionable mind, making them think it's okay for a man to wear a dress. Now, especially elegant after five dress that we know costs a lot of money, and that person put a lot of time and attention into for purchasing. You don't just wear an after five garment to everyday wear. You wear that to a main event, an after five evening wear. So when a child see you come to visit him in an after five evening where he knows something important going on, either you trying to get his attention or you trying to make an impression on him. Which is it? Because children can read you. They are readers. They read auras and they know what you're not saying and attempted to say through your image. They will stop and say, "What are you trying to do? Are you trying to make me think you're my mommy? Or are you trying to tell me that I can wear a dress too?" They will read all kinds of things into you stepping on stage with a dress. Now, I don't know what Sesame Seed thought they were doing, but they must have had a point because they go from working with curriculum, and curriculum have objectives. What were the objectives of these Sesame Street planners? What was their objection? Was their objective, and what tasks were they going to use to get to that objective? And in wearing that dress with your guest coming on there, that must have been an agenda. What is the agenda? African American males are becoming the new bald eagles, and the bald eagles have been taken off the list. And things are being done to our black men that have never been done before. And now we must have a protective crew to look out for those innocent, especially for the toddlers and preschoolers. And if someone is not informed, this could go into something more serious where children think that it's quite normal for a man to wear a dress, and it's quite normal for a man to handle him like his mother does when she pulls his pants up, touches his private part, cleans his private part. He might think he's wearing a dress, so it must be normal. No, it is not normal. And we cannot give that young child the impression that that's what the intention is for wearing that male wearing a dress. We must come to our senses. There are too many children being taken out of the home for male treatment, with women funneling their own children or allowing other outside men to funnel their children. There are too many of our children being placed in the foster care system to only be given over to uh, sexual intriguing and sexual activity. We cannot expose our children to all this sexual activity and say that it's okay, it's only Sesame Street. Well, that's where the trouble starts. When you inform children on Sesame Street inappropriately for how they are to be touched or handled, and if it comes from Sesame Street, that child might think it's okay. That might be a signal to tell that child it is okay for you to allow something to happen like this because you've seen it on Sesame Street and we approve it on Sesame Street. What else do you approve, Sesame Street? You must tell these parents because you're held obligated. Now, For the man that came on the show with the dress, what is in your mind? What do you hope to impart to these young, impressionable minds? And the puppets too, because they must have some kind of thought and feeling some kind of way as well, because they're just as innocent. They have no advocate. So we have got to understand, if we're going to live in this world with LGBTQ, we're going to have to draw some lines. And we're going to have to say, where I respect you on your side of the line, you must respect me on my sideline. They cannot go thinking that everybody has adapted to this femininity activity of a male. You just can't think that we have swallowed it down, lock, stock, and barrel. You got to give us a chance to get accustomed to having that third form of gender. And you got to give us a chance to voice our opinion. And you can't say we're coming against the LGBTQT. We're not. We're not coming against them at all. Let them have their day. But don't rub it off on our children, because they're innocent. They have not had a chance to choose between what is acceptable for them. So we cannot just let this go and let it roll off the duck's back. We have to address it. What was your intention? We know that men that are Black are already for the taking. They're already set up as a new bald eagle, and you can do anything you want to them and incarcerate them and steal them off the street, and nothing won't be said because people think they're getting what they deserve. No, they're not. We have to be very mindful of the new bald eagle leaving the community, leaving the dwellings, being exposed to incarceration. We have to be concerned about that. We cannot just let our Black men drift away. I have researched Black males. I know these things. I spent over 10 years researching the activity that Black boys have in the arena called the America. I've seen how they've been treated and how they've gotten less treatment and they have gotten more chastisement. So now we want to expose these young, innocent minds at an early age. What happens if they become promiscuous and they start fooling around with sex in preschool, going under the table, funneling each other, going under the table, engaging in sex, thinking it's okay? Their minds are not ready for sex. They cannot engage in sex at preschool level. So why should they be taught sex education at preschool level? Mommy teaches them you're a male and she's a girl, and you don't let anyone touch you in your private parts. And we must know that when we go on to watch Sesame Street must have trained people on their introducing sex education, just not any Joe Blow, because they're not all taught the same way. And we must understand that this used to be a psychological condition. It was categorized as a psychological condition. And we don't know if it's come off that list or not. It still could be a psychological condition. But who wants it pushed on their infants and preschoolers? Who wants it introduced to their children at an early impressionable age when they don't get a chance to choose? Now, I am coming on board to say something because it is my obligation to say, hey, I seen Sesame Street the other day on the news, and it had an LGBTQ person on there in a dress. Is that appropriate? In my mind, I'm saying, how many have spoke out against that and said, no, you have a curriculum. You're going against the curriculum by introducing the sex gender to preschoolers. Is that a part of the curriculum? If it's not a part of the curriculum, you need to pull that part out and apologize to your listening audience. Because if you don't, you are filling in information that has not been targeted or not an objective and is not a part of your curriculum. Then you are teaching something that has not been addressed and research. We're only allowed to bring in materials that have been properly researched to introduce to children. The same thing with you, Sesame Street. You just can't bring any old lesson plan in and teach it. So where are you coming from with that lesson plan? And who endorsed that lesson plan for sex education for children at preschool level? So this is what we need to be talking about. We're not talking about that man in the dress because he will go anywhere just to get the attention he needs to be seen because now he's moving up on the charts and he's getting his image out there. Now, we don't want to leave an imaging and a lasting impression upon these preschoolers that it's okay for men to walk around in dresses and it's okay for them to be feminine and dainty. We don't want to leave that impression, and it's not right. Now, if you want to leave it that impression upon your children and your household with your sex education, that's fine. But the general population does not all go that direction. They are heterogeneous and they believe in teaching the child from that perspective. And you must allow those parents to teach those things at the age appropriate time for their children, and you not engage and interfere with teaching them something that's awfully contrary than what their parents teach. Now, as a teacher, every teacher should be alarmed and upset. And on every station, the black media should grab hold to this and say, yes, we know you had the Emmy Awards and you're going to have people coming out the closet. We know that people are going to go way out to introduce their look and their dress. And now that they have come out the closet, they're going to be wearing dresses. No, we didn't expect that. We did not expect that. And when you come out representing the man wearing a dress, you do owe that black heterogeneous black man an explanation because you're representing his class. Now, if you think you're not, and you keep saying you want to be acknowledged as big and strong, but then you're trying to come across as being feminine and dainty, which one is it? You can't have us going back and forth, back and forth. And young children will tell you this isn't right. Mommies wear dresses. Mommies tiptoe to the tulip. Mommies wear dainty high heels and slippers. Mommies do. But daddies wear hats and caps and suits and belts. They will teach you. You don't have to worry about children. Children are not going to have it. And when you try to smooth it over on them, they're going to take that peanut butter and throw it back at you. So, this ain't peanut butter. It must be jam because peanut butter don't shake that way. This ain't peanut butter. This is jam because peanut butter don't shake that way. Kids have an astronomical ability to read you and to tell you what's right. If they have been trained and the word has been put in their heart, they hide it in their heart. And when the opportune time comes, they will spew it out on you and you'll say, where did that come from? I thought I was making leadway with you. And then you'll find out, they'll say, I'm a boy, you a boy, and she's a girl. They will tell you. And over my 30-some years and working with preschoolers, they've always set me straight. I go in the boys' bathroom. I'm going to the boys' bathroom. And some of them say, well, it's okay for him to go in the girls' bathroom. He got to go. He said, no, I will wait. I go in the boys' bathroom. They know the difference. And don't you dare try to fool them because they will teach something on Sesame Street and say, hold up, Sesame Street. Hold up, Oscar. Hold up. I want to tell you because my mommy told me, don't let nobody touch me. And don't you try to hold me. I'll hold my own private. And I know the real name of the PP. I'll tell you it's a phallus. They will teach you. You ain't got no business playing around with children, especially preschoolers. Do you know they have the Spirit of God? And the Spirit of God will be upon them. And they will read you the riot act. And you will be so shocked that these children has already been informed. Mothers, teach your children. Mothers, don't let your children go out and be had. And when Sesame Street, even Sesame Street, tries to pull one over on them, come back and say, Sesame Street, I don't like that. And the children will say, where's my truck? Where's my toys and where's my gun? Because I'm a boy and I want my toys. And mommies wear dresses. They will tell you when you introduce them to someone that's wearing a dress, they'll say, where is he going? And they will keep addressing him as he, even though you've tried to present him as a she. You must understand, children learn well, and mothers are teaching their children these days. Mothers, please don't let me be up here just talking and you're not doing your job at home. Make sure you're doing your job at home and telling your children, I am the one that will introduce you to sex education. I don't want no, I don't want no movies teaching you. I don't want no Elmore teaching you, and I sure don't want no outsiders teaching you about sex education. That is reserved for mommy and daddy. And the little boy will say, yes, mommy, I know that. That's why I told him that mommies wear dresses. Mommies wear dresses. Mommies wear dresses. Mommies wear dresses. That's exactly what a child will tell you. I know how they think because I get in their head. And as a child, early childhood therapist who works with the child, a child is not going to forget what you drilled in his head over the summer. Johnny, make sure you pull up the toilet seat. Johnny, make sure you put the toilet stool seat down. Johnny, you can't go in there with your sister, Johnny. You gotta wait, Johnny. No, she don't want you hearing her dropping. No, Johnny, go away from the door, Johnny. You can't listen as she pee-pees. You do your own privacy. Don't let anyone come in. Johnny hadn't forgot that lecture you've been telling him. What makes you think that Johnny's forgotten that? Johnny gonna say, wait a minute, hold up. At least a little baby from the hood gonna say, look, my mommy told me that only girls wear dresses. And my daddy told me I better put a belt on and don't be sagging. And my dad said that I should shine my shoes at night and look spiffity spook. And you ain't no girl, you are a boy. So quit playing with me. Children will tell you. And there's no disrespect. And ain't no sense in nobody saying, oh, they're talking about the LGBTQ people. Oh, they must not like them. No, it has nothing to do with liking you. It's what's in order and what we've been orchestrated to believe. We've been orchestrated to believe a whole lot of stuff, but we ciphered out what was real and what was unreal. Now you're trying to bring us some imaginary stuff, just worse than Little Red Riding Hood and the dish ran away with the spoon. They weren't having that. When I came in there and said, and the dish ran away with the spoon, they said, Miss God, you know ain't no dish ran away with no spoon. Why are you teaching us that? That ain't even real. And Little Red Riding Hood, Little Red Riding Hood ain't even real either. I don't want to learn no nursery rhyme because they don't make no sense. They will tell you, and don't let me get up on the rest of the stuff they will tell you. Children ain't no dummy. They ain't no fool. You can't introduce things to them that's already been ingrained in them. You can't change it around and say, here, now we want to give you a different dose of this medicine. They say, I've always taken my castor. Don't bring me no bad news because I only take castor. Kids are not going to let you shove anything down their throat. So we get on these national airways and TV and we think we can just feed our Black children anything. Now, as we are talking about why is the Black man being offered as the new bald eagle? You could take him and do anything you wanted to. You could feminize him. You could flip him up. Now he's a woman. You can flip him down. Now he's a man. Once you are decided on your sex and your gender, you need to stick with it. And having this opportunity to flip back and forth and want everybody to be able to be conducive to who you say you are. You can't say you're a feminine girl 1 minute today and tomorrow you are all man. You can't confuse us like that. You've got to get it together in your own psychological mind. And you certainly cannot be addressing the babies out here trying to formalize their thoughts. Let their mother formalize their thoughts. And if the mother is doing injustice and teaching that baby about being gender confused, then she's wrong too. You cannot determine the sex of a child and gear that child towards that sex. If that child was born here a girl, then treat them like a girl and stop saying you can be anything you want to be. No, you can't. There's a cost to pay for that. You cannot teach children in that manner. You must raise them in the sex that they were born in. When they get grown and at the age of consent, then they make that decision, but not while they're a child. And you cannot have Sesame Street out here helping them along to introduce them to sex education that they know nothing about that third gender. Now they're asking you, Mom, what about those other men that go both ways? They like men and women, and then vice versa. What about that woman who likes women and she don't like men? Is that natural? These children are going to formalize all kinds of questions to you. And you have to understand, you can't dump on an intelligent child. Some mothers are really doing a good job. Then you got some idiots out here that are talking about, I'm going to let the child choose. No, you steer that child in the method and the way that they were born here. You don't start putting on leotards, tights, and high heels on a boy just to see how he would look in it and seeing how he'll walk in it and see if he's more feminine than masculine. First of all, there is a fear of masculinity out here. And the average non-Melanite man is fearful of masculinity. They're so afraid that they didn't get the anatomy that black men got. Now, this is from my sex education. Hate me if you want to, but don't dare try to come after me for anything I'm saying. I'm censoring what I'm saying. This does not appeal to YouTube. This is according to Omi as a professional who lecture families and work with families. I do know this much. When children come in this world, you cannot experiment with them. And just because you wanted a boy, now you're going to put that girl on some trousers and pull a hat over her head and cut all her hair off and make her look docile and walk looking down and dragging her leg. Now she's walking with a drag and everybody thinks she's a boy. So they're going to treat her like a boy. And she's always wanted to be feminine and put on that feminine dress. Mothers, you will go straight to hell for leading those children into a disastrous area, in the area you want them to be. Whatever they were born here with that sex trait, you are to harness and develop that trait, not try to go contrary to that, because you see a lot of white children now are taking hormone pills because they're in middle school and they want to be a boy. So they've cut their hair like a boy and they start talking real draggy like. And now their mothers are letting them to become a boy, but they were once a blonde-haired, blue-eyed young girl. Now, they can do what they want to do. I'm talking to the black race today. I'm talking to you, because sometimes we get on probation to become white, and we start doing things like the white folks do. You can't do it because they come back at you in a different way. And you must understand that that's their world. It's not your world. And we as African Americans used to think the same way. We used to think the same way, speak with one voice and be heard. Now, I want my own identity. I want to think for myself. And I want to be an LGBT. And that's what I want to be. I am a lesbian. Okay, you want to be a lesbian? That's your thing. Don't make it impressionable on a young child and push it on him, because he hasn't had his or her chance to grow up and develop. But we've got to do something better in these schools. There are teachers leaving the profession because they're not going to teach a curriculum that teaches LGBTQ. Some of them refuse to do it, and it goes against their moral grain. Not that they're disrespecting any LGBTQ. It's just that they don't want to morally be wrong, and they want to be morally right. And when we see things on television where you're holding young children captive and you got them in the audience where you're forcing on them what femininity is, and they've never learned from their mothers how to put a dress on front way and zip it up, And now you've got to be in front of a TV set, letting Sesame Street tell you what femininity is. That man may not even know how to walk in heels. He may be wobbling. So he's setting a bad example of what femininity is. He might not even know how to zip his dress all the way up. It might be half down. So when we teach a child something, we teach them the steps of what it is. When I was taught how to be a girl, I was taught to put books on my head, walk with your neck straight up, and walk slow and graceful, slow and graceful, slow and graceful. And we were taught these things because it was 11 girls. We couldn't take anything to chance. If you were hanging out with the boys and you thought you were one of them, you still had to come in the house and take femininity classes and learn how to put a dress on and how to pull a girdle up gracefully and how to put your bra on. Those are all feminine things that will make you a woman. Just because you put on a dress, it does not give you the identity of what it means to be feminine. You have to know how to put a slip on. You have to know how to powder yourself. You have to know how to cross your legs with a dress on. And you have to know how to not to put on a dress that's so tight you can't even spread your legs or sit down. So we've got to get this thing right. Just because we are fearing masculinity. And I want to say something too, the white supremacist world. We know exactly what that is. All men are not fearful and masculine, yes, they are, but they are not all creatures who are out to damage someone. That's the fear you put in your mind about masculinity. They're doing research about it. How does the masculinity help a black man in war? Why does he have the tactics and skills of someone that has the ability to be a great warrior? Is it his is it his his masculinity that causes him to have this ability? It's possibly, but there's no reason for anyone to fear a black man. There's nothing to be feared about him. He's going to go on his way and he's not looking for a fight. But because when somebody else is frightened of him and they throw the first punch, quite naturally, that black man's going to throw the first punch. What is going on? You got the wrong thing here. Okay, we got that right. I want to say once again, as a child, early childhood specialist and an American family counselor to families, I am much more concerned about the agenda that has been played against the black family in general, and more particularly plagued against the masculinity of the black man. There's no reason to fear the masculinity of the black man because he's been built with certain muscles and structure. He's not always out to challenge a white man to fight him or to war with him, but to help him. As you can see, a large majority of the black men have gotten on the bandwagon with these white men and fought their wars. They didn't turn the gun on you, but they fought your wars. But how do you repay them? With casting them to be the dominant man with masculinity because you fear him. Now you want to break him down to a feminine woman and put him at a stage where you can handle him and that he's acceptable. They're not going to let you do it. They're not going to let you feminize the black man to make them non-threatening. They're going to let you know that this foolishness that you're coming up with is already known, that there's research out there right now as we sit here where they're pulling documentation to find those black males and compare them to the black men in Africa to see if the masculinity has anything to do with the way they wore. They are researching that under instructions of our dear government. And everyone knows this. Black people read, we're readers, we know this. So why are you making the black man the new bald eagle? Why are you going after him? Why are you trying to feminize him? And what is this new agenda that you have for our babies? This is why I stepped in. You have an agenda for our babies. What is Elmore doing on television with a male, a black male, hugged up with him in a dress? Why? What is the agenda? What is your intention? What is your objective? When you create a lesson plan or curriculum, you have objectives. You have objectives and tasks of how you're going to meet those objectives. So what is your objective? Because we're going to find out. We're going to bust this thing wide open. Because if you got an objective to carry our young boys away at a young age and introduce them to diverse thinking, and now they're going to grow up thinking that it's normal for a man to be dressed in a dress and be feminine. No, we're not going to let you do it. We're not. We're on to the schemes. We're on to all of this stuff, and we know what is being transpired. Now, I hope that some professionals will listen to me today and hear me out, because they ought to be just as concerned as I am. There's far too much garbage happening to our children. People are holding our children up for sacrifices. People are using them for sex pawns, and people are trading them in the system. People are using their organs. Enough is enough. The new bald eagle is going to stand up and fly right. And you won't take that bald eagle off the list and replace it with our African American males. We're not going to let you. Our women know that you got more of our men in prison than anything. What are you trying to do to the black family? Well, we won't let you do it. Our black families are going to stand strong, and our black men too, with their muscles and the palm of their fists going up. Our black men are going to stay strong. You cannot feminize them. We don't want to feminize black men. We want a man that's strong, that is able to stand up on our behalf and meet you at the door when you come to kick our door down. We want you to know that we're standing with our black men. I had 6 black brothers, and I tell you, I stood with them under every account. Anything that was coming against them, I stood with them, because we knew that you were coming to take our help away, that was going to protect us. But we as black women, we're not going to allow it. We're not going to allow it with our children, nor with our black men, because we must have strong men, masculine men. And we don't care if you fear their muscles and their anatomy. What you fear is their phallus, because you created the gun to compete with his phallus, because he was shooting seeds and developing babies. You created the gun to compete with him. We know that is down in the history book. It was in a coroner report. We know this. We're readers and researchers, but we see what's going on in the media. We define the black media. We, the people, define the black media. And we're going to tell the truth like it should be. And for those black people that are looking for the truth, look to our shows to tell you what is really going on in the media. Now, they got their fights. They're fighting with their own people. They're going to war. And then we got to stand up and say, enough is enough. These LGBTQ black men that are getting this extra money, they're coming out of the closet, and not only getting extra money, but you're getting opportunities for jobs just because you came out of the closet. Don't be no fool. You'll be popular today, and tomorrow you'll be out there with AIDS out on the ground. And we have to come pick you up. You got to have some sense for yourself. You don't take on a character and a title just for some filthy lucre. You can get some money, but your dignity as black people, you never give up your dignity. That's what Dr. Martin Luther King told us to fight for, our dignity. We have fought for our dignity. A lot of people are giving it away cheaply. Don't give it away cheaply. We fought, and many people died for our dignity. And you need to know that. You need to know that, because if you don't fight for the dignity, you will fall for anything. And look at all of these black men that are falling for this feminine trait. If you put on a dress, you can have what you want. We'll give you money. If you put on a dress and make a fool of yourself, we'll put you in the show and you have a permanent job. Yes, but you won't have the dignity of your black people, and you won't be anything worth anything. Take off the dress, black man. Pull your shoulders back and regain your dignity, and definitely have your babies on the side of you and teach them well, because I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Don't show them how they can be converted to a man or a woman. God has that right to convert you to whatever he wants you to be. He said, let us make man in our own image. He didn't say every Tom, Dick, and Harry has the right to make man into their image. No, he never gave you that instruction. And you are going against the grain of God. You cannot tamper with black children and think that no harm is coming to you. You will have repercussions and consequences for hurting and taking advantage of black children, children in general. There are many children that are suffering from the hands of these so-called pedophilians who are messing with children, who are changing the child's mind about sex, and who are making children think they can engage in sex at an early age. No, they can't. Their mind is not strong enough, and they're not at the age to be engaging in sex as a preschooler. So quit teaching them about the daintiness and femininity of who should wear a dress. You don't have the right to tell them that. Not from a television show. Their mothers and fathers should be the one that introduced this concept to them. I'm very concerned because now that the bald eagle has come off the list, they placed the black man on there. And the black man is endangered. I'm telling you, the black man is in danger. And now they're going to the babies, preschoolers, and they're in danger. Their sexuality is in danger because you have somebody tampering with them, telling them what they could be if they want to be. If they are a boy, you have no business telling them you could convert yourself to a girl. We teach these cycles of life to preschoolers. We don't teach them in that concept. Now you're getting laws together that say you have to teach that. Well, you must understand, a lot of people, rather than go to hell, they're going to teach what's right. And they're not going to let somebody who's afraid of masculinity, who's afraid of the black man's body, who want to put the black man down because they fear what he's going to do. The black man don't have any plans to do a thing to non-melanite white men. If they did, they would have long been busted up out of prison. And they're in there being content, even though some of them are falsely in there. And some of them have gone to the chambers. Everything you do, you will suffer for it. You will not get out of this without being repaid repercussion and consequences. So we got someone who's fearing a black man's body because he can produce more babies than you can produce. You decided now you want to create a scheme where you put them on the list with the bald eagles and men can go after them and hunt them. Well, that's not going to happen. I'm telling you, enough women are getting fed up and they're speaking out against this very thing. Enough women are coming to these airways and say, we're going to stop this thing because we're going to tell the truth. You don't put a man in a dress on the screen with Elmo and then tell the children to come and learn your lesson, children. What is the lesson? What is the itinerary? What is the pretense and the objective? Is it to change that child's mind about who a woman could be? Is it to change that child's mind to make them think you and any other person that's a boy can put a dress on? What is the agenda? What is your objective? And why are you inviting him back? Did the children not get the message the first time? So now you're going to really ingrain it? And we know that anybody wearing an After 5 dress must be going somewhere elegant, and they don't wear an After 5 dress on a daily basis. If they put that on, baby, they mean doing business by any means necessary. Let's drive home a point. What I'm saying to the young man that is wearing the dresses, come out of the dresses, and it will go well with you. I don't care what you do in your bedroom, or in your bathrooms, in your closets, or living room. That's your business. But when you come out into the real world, you have no business in putting your impression on these young, impressionable minds. No business. Now you're dealing with the teacher's business and the parents' business, and you have to answer to us. And you can't go saying that someone's discriminating against you, because we're not. There's a line. You stay on your side of the line, and we stay on our side. As long as you don't cross over that line to come get our children to teach them otherwise, you're fine. Nobody has no problem with you. That 13th Amendment was written for us to have our freedom. Okay? Now, the LGBTQ people are saying that they've been through something. Yes, you may have been through something, but you cannot jump on the bandwagon with that 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment saying now you want protection. Protection against what? Who's bothering you? Who's discriminating against you? Now, in that Constitution, it never said you have a right to convert yourself to anything you want to be. They talked about men and women. You have to define and decide if you're a man and a woman, or a woman. You got to decide that. And here's what you must understand. You don't have the right to touch and talk to young children about your lifestyle. Your way of life is your way of life. Those children have no business in being played or forced to even look at your lifestyle, because it's not something they should be concerned with, because they know they're a boy or they know they're a girl, and they're going to live the life of a girl or boy. But you don't have to give them a third option now saying you have to make a choice. No, they don't have to make a choice. They are being influenced by their parents, and whichever way their parents have them go, that is the direction they'll go in. They're not at the age of consent yet, so they don't have to make a decision. So I'm saying this, I'm warning somebody right now that we've got to do better than this. We've got to live our lives so we can keep our Black families together. If we have nobody appropriating that are having Black children, then there will be no more Black families. And I'll be damned if we're going to let our families go off the planet. We'll go to the highest to make sure our families do well and exist. And if we have anybody that doesn't want to appropriate or produce children, that's your damn business. But you don't have a right to come and bust up families and prevent them from continuing to prosper and developing, having children. You have no right to influence their young mind. And as far as Sesame Street goes, you better get it together, Sesame Street, because parents and teachers are watching you. You had a lot of control over this thing. You could have stopped it. You could have said it's not in our agenda, it's not in our curriculum, we cannot teach it, we cannot expose it, we can't touch it with a 10-foot pole. But you went ahead and introduced this concept. Now you got the door open. Who's going to kick it in? Is somebody from the LGBTQ going to kick the door in and bring it all out in the open and think parents are going to accept it? They got another thing coming. Parents are going to fight for their children, and parents are going to stand up for what rights they do have, and that is the right to train their child in an upright manner to be a heterosexual child and not have to be an LGBT individual. Because children don't know what they want to be when they're that young. They have no idea about being some other sex and loving the one you with who is the same sex. They don't know anything about that unless you teach them. And as a teacher, I know that you are funneling with these minds, and I'm asking you to stop it. Stop it for your own sake, because God is not pleased with it, and he will come and deal with each one of you if you don't stop it. I want to thank you, listening audience, for listening to me, and I want to say hello to my Facebook friends over here. I know you've been dodging in and out. Let's see who we got here. We got Winston, Paul. Okay, Paul, Winston. Let's see who else. Okay. We have Israel. Thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for spending this afternoon with me on this particular topic. I had intended to do a different topic on dealing with the Land Acts for our Black history, little known facts and history coming out of our Harriet Tubman history class. But we're going to postpone that. We still got our 27 days left to talk about Black history things, and we're going to put it to you to talk about our Black history things. And thank you for listening to me. And I do believe the children are our future. And I love the children, and they're very dear and close to me. And I wouldn't want to see them damaged by other people because they have impressionable minds, and we don't want to flaw their mind. We don't want to lead them into too many directions. Young children are dropping out at age 3, age and not excuse me, not age 3, dropping out at grade 3, third grade, and they're planning and building the prison based on the 3-year-old's reading capability, the third grade reading capability. And we don't want to see these children drop out any more than what they are. And we don't want to see you failing to tell the children who they are. We're just not finding out that we are indigenous aborigines. And for the longest, we've been called everything from Negro to nigger to African American to black. And now we're coming into consciousness of who we are. Just let us be. Let us be. We are not the kind of people that pay you back for the wrong that you've done. Let us be and become who we are. We're God's chosen people. We are going to make this earth and world a better place so you can live in and live with some of your ways. But Caucasian, there's a lot of ways that you're going to have to change. We're just not going to tolerate them. And this low level life, sexual education, Black folks have always honored what their parents taught them and have strayed away from homosexuality. But now you're endorsing homosexuality on our white people. White people, you're telling our Black people it's okay to be homosexual, and you're applauding them for coming out the closet. You're encouraging them. Black people, we've never wanted to get the endorsement of white people to determine what we should be doing. We have never wanted to wait for them to tell us what was right. We always knew what was right, and we did what was right. We did what was right, and we made sure that we followed suit and we spoke with one voice. Now, Black people are so desperate to be seen, and Black people want to be up on the higher pedestals with the so called award winners, and we want their endorsement. We never waited to get their endorsement. And I'm speaking to some of you young brothers out there who putting the dress on. I say stop it and find out who you are as a gentleman and a young man. Don't be so quick to come into a different gender when you haven't even found out who you are as a Black masculine man. There's much to be known and had, and much to be respected. And don't let someone push you into a corner of being feminine because they're fearing you as a masculine man. That is what's going on now. The average white man is dying faster than ever before. He's fearing the Black man. He's carrying his gun. He's afraid that the Black man is going to pull his pistol on him. So he has his gun out and cocked and ready. So he wants you to be more feminine so he don't have to fear and be threatened by you that you can come against him. We got to stop all this hypothesis of fearing the Black man and making him the bald eagle. We got to stop this, white man. And until you do this, you're going to walk around in fear. And fear is a dangerous thing to hover in your heart. You can do your own self in with fear. But let's not involve the children. Let's not bring the children to the table and have them engage in this type of lifestyle and teaching them that this is how you become a feminine woman and knowing that they're growing up to be a man. Let's not engage the children. I plead with you. I'm pleading with somebody to stop this nonsense, walk away from it, because your children will be damaged and you will be damaged down to the 1,000th generation. And God won't stop until He gets all of your kin and your children's kin and your lineage. He won't stop if you try to spoil the Black man's children, if you try to expose the Black man's children to things that are inappropriate, such as homosexuality and engaging them in LGBTQ. You must understand, you owe the listening audience some respect. You cannot go after these children by teaching them this stuff from the media, from the screen. You must leave this up to the parents to bring into contents with the children. And I am warning somebody right now. This is no game, and I am not playing. I am serious in a heart attack. I have respect for all people, whatever you decide to become an LGBTQ, or if you decide to have two mamas in your house and two fathers, that's fine with me. Whatever you need to do in your house, but don't let that spill over into somebody else's house and push that agenda, because the agenda is being pushed today against our black man. We're fighting against that agenda, and we are standing up saying we will be a wholesome family, and we will have the structure of the child at the center, being the most important person, along with the mother and the father. Even though we don't always have fathers in home, you've driven our fathers away. But we're going to do everything we can to bring those black males back in the home, to cohabitate with their black sisters, and to raise that child that's at the center. And that child will not be tampered with and exposed to being something that he is not, and geared into something that you want him to be. We're not going to allow you to do that, because you're trying to play God's hand, and you're not God. You don't do the creating. And we know that God didn't create man. But in the African faith, we know that Oromala created man. Oromala ain't playing with you. If you do damage to the child, he's coming after you. And he's a deity. God only gave the breath of life, but he had Obatala sculpture each individual man, and they went into contract to tell Obatala what their plans were for this earth, what they're going to do. And if you hinder that plan, cause that plan to be violated, and cause them not to live up to their expectancy, Obatala is coming after you, and he's coming after you with both hands. And you don't want Obatala to come after you and your household, because what people are doing is disgraceful. That sexuality is your private business. Keep it in your bedroom. Do not exploit other children outside of your bedroom, and stop doing that. If that's what you want to do, you have no right to take innocent children to engage them in sex with an adult. You cannot, I repeat, engage children in sex with an adult. You will go straight to hell, beyond hell, and the ancestors will come up after you. I'm giving somebody a warning today, and don't even try to come after me to do any harm or dirt to me. I've already summoned the ancestors, and I'm rightly guided, and I'm definitely protected. And don't even say my name or my family's name to try to put any harm or cause me to stumble. Because every block you put in front of me, that's triple the block put in front of you. These airways have been given to the black news, and we are reporting the black news today. And this is true black news, and we're not influencing anyone to be anything. And I didn't say I was against anyone. I didn't come here to stumble against the LGBTQ people. I have respect for them. I have friends that are in that profession. But you got to come to your senses. You don't want to go overboard, because some of these people are not fearing what God could do to them. You must have the fear of God in you, black people. And certain things you just don't do. And that is, you don't tamper with children. You don't tamper with children. It is a sin beyond all sins. Leave the children alone. Leave the children alone. And far as Sesame Street goes, if you continue to press this agenda and put this before our children and our people, we will come on your television show to address you about the false curriculum that you're dealing to our children, black and white. Now, that's all I have to say today. I wish you a merry Black History Month. Do tune into my show. And above all, go down below and subscribe. Why don't you try subscribing today? And put the two thumbs up and tell somebody to listen to my show. It might keep them out of trouble. And as far as another man coming on the airways that's black in a dress, I'm sending you a warning out. God said that you are out of order. God said that you can be whatever you want to be in your closet outside of your living room, but when you step out that door, you cannot expose our black children or white children to an agenda of lesbianism, of homosexualism. That is your thing. Keep it in your house, not on television, and not exposing the children. And I'm telling you this because I have a right to. I'm telling you this because I honor all the children, and represent all the mothers. And any mother don't think I'm doing the right thing, call me up, give me a call, and let me know you don't care about your child. But if you think I'm doing the right thing, get behind me and support me. Because we can't have these kind of shows coming on and nobody's saying nothing about it. Fly Nubian Queen went in on the topic. I'm proud of how Vicky went in on the topic. She did what she was supposed to do. Now, other stations, you better get up and rise up early to give your rendition of what you think about man coming on a children's show, hugged up under the TV with one of the puppets, giving a message to the general public. Get on your horn and tell the world what you think of that, and give out your lesson to people and let them know that God is use you as an ambassador to represent the Black homes of the children and the families. I thank you very much for your time here on the show and this time with me. You've been listening to Maddie Harvey's baby sister. I was trained well. I know what it is to have a family. I know that the child is the most important thing at the center of the family, not at the back, not at the top, but at the center of the family. We hold that child in high esteem, and so does the indigenous Native American people. They've always held their child at the center. Put that child in the center and put that child where they belong. Don't let anybody take advantage of the child. We cover the child. We protect the child and the family, the Black family. I'm not speaking about any other family. We are out here trying to preserve the Black families because they are being busted up and torn apart. I can't tell you white, non-melanated people what to do in your household, in your house, but you better protect those children because I'm for all children. But I want to tell you, I am first for the Black families, and I speak for the Black families. And I don't think I'm speaking anything different than what they would want me to. So I want to thank you for coming and subscribing. Ring that bell because that'll tell you when I'm on the station. And please do become a subscriber. I talk on all different topics, but when it comes to the family, that's my specialty. That's what I'm speaking on. I want to thank both of you. I want to thank all of you for listening, and I'll be back at you soon. And do have a Black Family History Month because that's what we're going to be teaching on. Next, we're going to be talking about land acts. So do tune in to Harriet's history lessons under the land acts. Thank you.